Hi, Neema. This is Alex from Blackfilm. How are you?
Hi, Alex from blackfilm. How you doing, Queen?
I am good. I can't complain. You've been doing a lot. You've been doing a lot lately. Even though it is COVID, I
Yep.
feel like you've kept busy well enough. You got a lot going on with Aretha Genius.
Yes, I
Uh,
have. I had. It's
yeah,
over now. Thank goodness. We made it through.
ex- exactly, exactly.
It
So,
was it, it was tough, but we got through it. I mean, working with Cynthia, I would say, was a dream. She's fabulous and creative, and she had my back. I had her back. We had to make some changes, and of course, working with Anthony Hemingway was super fantastic. What a joy!
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
what a joy! How supportive. We all wanted to do Aretha right. Like I said, when I took the gig, I told him, I said, this is personal.
Mm,
So that meant whatever I had to do, to get it right with my two episodes, I had to do it no matter what. And I
right.
did. And I also used my director's creative rights to follow my two episodes all while I was in New York for 8 months in post production through every phase, girls, because I wanted to make sure it was right. And so I'm very proud of my two episodes. And, they probably have Voodoo Dolls Child with my name, with my face on it.
Oh,
They probably sticking pins in me right now. But let me tell you, it was all worth it.
yeah, because you got the
It was
job
worth it.
done.
I got the job done in my two episodes to properly represent, Aretha the way she needed to be represented. It was very, very important to me. And, everybody has their own agenda, so
Exactly.
they want to tell one story, or I signed on to tell the story of Aretha. It was an interesting dynamic going on. But, I'm an old warrior girl.
Right.
They can't pull me apart.
And that's interesting, right? Right. They can't, and they won't. And that's the
And they
interesting
won't.
point because you said you took it so personally. It's
Yes.
interesting because the Genius series comes from National Geographic, so I can imagine what the people behind the scenes could look like. And you're a black woman director, and you said you have a story to tell, and they had a story to tell. How did
Right.
how do you overcome something like that? How do you still tell your story even though
Yeah.
the agenda
Well,
on the back
you
end
you
might not?
have when you're working on any project about black folks that are run by white folks,
Right,
okay,
right.
there's going to be issues.
Hmm.
I had issues when I was doing Raising Dion with the white female showrunner. I had issues on Genius Aretha with National Geographic and Imagine.
Mm.
And coming from the background I came from, first of all, I mean, Susan Lloyd Parks is very talented. She had never done a TV series before. And, I don't believe that well, anyway, make a long story short, I just laid it out right there. I had the joy of also working with Pauletta
Hmm.
Washington, Denzel's wife, who played Aretha's grandmother.
Wow.
And there were scenes in there that didn't really work for me.
Hmm.
And I called Paulette. I said, I don't think any grandmother would react that way if she found out her 12-year-old granddaughter was pregnant. And she agreed with me. So we went on and changed it.
Mm.
And Susan agreed, and she was happy about it. And some other elements like when people try to focus on her father being a playboy and don't focus on her father leading the second largest civil rights march in the country.
Right.
And Martin Luther King was one of his mentees. So, I pulled her coat to those things and, like black water fountain, white water fountain, and giving Dr. King the royal treatment in my episode 3 that he deserved rather than being,
Hmm.
a bookend, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? So what I've learned over the years is that you just have to stand up, and I don't allow anybody, white to tell me how a black woman's going to react. That they can't do. They could guess and
Hmm.
make, a Memorex, but, I'm a black woman and I know a lot more about being a black woman than they do. I mean, I think that, I fought for everything.
Yeah.
I fought for in episode 2. I fought to flash back to you'll see in episode 2 the tent scene. They were going to cut it, and I fought, and we kept that. Anthony had my back on that. I had, just a number of daily
Yeah.
situations that came up. But, the crew was fabulous. The cast was fabulous. And Cynthia, I have to say, was so dynamic. I see directing in her future because she was, I come from Black theater, so I come from theater, so I'm literally, it's all about the story, and about the acting. And so she agreed. And so we worked together in tandem, to represent Aretha properly and give her, the treatment she deserved. I mean, Aretha was very shy. And, and I think that, there was an instinct for her, they wanted Cynthia to play, particularly National Geographic, to play her more accommodating, which she was not. And so working in tandem with Cynthia to play Aretha as she was a joy, because Cynthia wasn't having it. And, she played Aretha as she was. Aretha grew up, had lived in a nice house when she was little, you know what I mean? She grew up as a little lady. And so that's how she, like her father said, I want people to know where you come from, and what kind of upbringing you had. So, I think that with all of that in mind, we managed to get a lot done on Genius Aretha and send Aretha off right, because that was our objective. And, it's a new day, you know what I'm saying? Post George Floyd, all of that overseer stuff is not people not taking that anymore.
Amen. Good.
I never took it, but now a lot more Black artists aren't taking it. It's you want to tell a Black story, but you want it to be your way. When you're telling a biopic, this person is real.
Yeah.
And they have a real life. So you can't make believe, and you can't make them accommodating to the music business if she stood up for her rights. That's how you have to play it. Exactly. And, Aretha became an activist, and that needed to be in there, and it stemmed from her father, who was an activist for many years. I guess he was a playboy and all that, but he also was a civil rights leader.
Yeah. So
we managed to get that in there, So, with the changes that we added, I feel confident. I worked with what I had, and what we added in, like I said, working with Pauletta was a joy. I wish even more about her grandmother, who Aretha claimed was her rock, had been in the show. You know what I mean? I had more to work with Cynthia, work with Aretha on, and her sisters, and being the only Black female director on the show, I tried to push as much as I could. That's probably why they said they didn't want to publicize me at all. I know they didn't even have any pictures of me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Because Dal Ann called them and said, they wanted to, she wanted to do a press release because, just a little press release, because I was, being the only Black woman director on Aretha, having input. And they said, we have, we're only going to publicize Aretha and, Cynthia and Brian Glazer and Susan Lloyd Parks. I said, okay, fine. That's fine. But I know, and I know what changes I made, and they were all for the better. And it was so funny because when I looked at the promos, it was like 90% of the shots in my episode 3, because my episode 3 had a lot of politics in it. So I laughed to myself.
Yeah.
But, overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the experience very much. We were like a family.
Good.
And, we had the same goals. And, working on a Black project with Blacks in key positions, like the writer and the showrunner, the executive producer, and Anthony and the stars, it's a joy.
Yeah.
It really is a joy, and it's a wonderful experience. So I just hope that the public, can look at Aretha's life and understand, the queen that we love so much and what she went through, because she went through a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
She went through a lot, and she was still humble about it, and such a powerful spirit, And like I said, Cynthia captured it. I don't know if you saw her singing last night at that promo, but
I didn't, but I did hear she did very well. I've seen her sing before, and I know she is unmatched. And I know if anybody was going to be Aretha, she could, do her justice.
Yes, she did a great job, and she was, like I said, a joy of an artist to work with, and it's exciting for me, having gone through different decades, directing, to see the consciousness of the young black artists today.
Love it.
Their consciousness is powerful and strong, and just because it's on the page, if they don't feel it's right, they do speak up about it, and that makes my day. I didn't think I'd live to see it, but I'm glad I'm here to see it.
Yeah.
And to see you and Darlan and, all these young, beautiful black women in key positions working. I mean, it's just fabulous to me because I was the first, the first black woman ever direct a sitcom, first black woman ever get a 3-picture deal. And when you're standing out there by yourself, it's lonely and you're fighting and you're fighting. I'm a Harlem girl now, so I came out fighting,
Right.
out to AFI. So, I and that's when even when Ava asked me to be producing director of Queen Sugar, how could I say no? All women, I was producing director of Queen Sugar season 1, and that was a joy to train all these women who are just doing fabulously now. Sally Richardson, Tana Mayberry, all of them, they're all soaring. Because when I came up, there was hardly anybody.
I know that was what I was going to say. It was questioning mine. It's like when you first were starting out, you were the first black woman to direct a sitcom and the first black woman to get a major deal at a major studio. And I'm like, were those your goals even, or were you just doing what you wanted to do?
I was just doing what I wanted to do. And when they all ran on the set of What's Happening Now and said, "Oh, Neema, we just found out that there's never been a black woman to direct a sitcom before." I don't know what they thought I was going to say, but I said, "Oh my God, that's horrible."
Right, because when you really think about it, it's like, I mean, great, but is that great?
Yeah, and then what's so funny? They had printed all these pictures that they were going to send out to the press, and after I gave my response, they didn't publicize it at all. Oh. But it is a fact, because I was like, "Oh, what happened?" I thought they were going to put like a press release or something. I was a kid, right out of AFI, but I thought that was funny, And then when I got the 3-picture deal, of course, all my movies were black, and about black women, and they were not interested in that. But now is a new day, and
it really
everybody's getting deals. Yeah, and it's exciting, and we're moving and shaking. I mean, when for us as black women, it's always a struggle. You know that, and what you do and what a lot of us do. So, when I go do a show about a black woman, I'm prepared to battle, for that image. I'm prepared for what the result is, because I'd rather be able to look at what I've done and be happy than to compromise and not be able to look myself in the mirror, and it's okay if they don't call me back. It's okay if I don't work for them again. My goal is to do good work and create balanced images for my sisters on the screen. And at this point and age in my life, I can only do that. I just cannot go the other way.
Exactly.
I'm trying to work on my patience now. I'm trying.
Patience is a virtue.
I'm trying, girl. I am trying. It's real hard sometimes.
That's all you can do is try, though. There's no harm in that.
There's no harm in that.
So, okay. Well, you're saying that you shot in New York and you're going back to New York. And you're, and you were talking about you've been shooting through the decades, right? Through different times, It's a different time and age. But this is not only a different time politically, but just even more so health-wise. I mean, you're shooting, even with Harlem. You just recently shot that. You're shooting in New York, which is the hotbed for COVID.
Yes, it is.
So what is it like shooting there during such a sensitive time? Like, does it drastically change the way you go about filmmaking, or do you just kind of go with the flow?
Right. Well, I'm leaving tomorrow for New York. I don't start shoot. I shoot Whoopi Goldberg this coming Friday.
Oh, okay.
Because I just started the show, but yes, it's difficult even in preparation. It's not easy. You have to get tests. You have to, make sure everything is aired out. You can't get close to the actors. You have to wear a shield. It's just, they told me all the rules and regulations, and my other friends, were telling me what the situation is. And so it's not an easy thing to do, but You got to start somewhere. And I'm excited too because Regina King just asked me to direct a movie with her. And
Exciting.
I'm excited. She's producing. I can't talk about it right now,
Okay, okay.
but it's going to be really good. So I'll let you know about that. But yeah, no, it's not easy to shoot during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive too. So because you have to have, everyone has their COVID officers and they watch this and that. I mean, I've had like 4 COVID tests and the shots. And when I get into New York and start working on Monday, I have to do two more sets of tests before I can go on.
Wow.
Yeah. But, you have to start sometime.
Mm-hmm.
I turned down jobs all winter because I didn't want to work. I wasn't going to get that, that disease.
Yeah.
That bacteria is terrible. But I believe that, help is on the way. And I'm not going to do anything dangerous. They cut down, of course, the amount of actors on the set, the amount of extras. So the writers have to adjust. That's all, making less.
Yeah, yeah. Understood. Good, 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 good.
You
As
know,
long as everybody's safe.
right. As long as everybody's safe. And I think that we have to watch out for ourselves,
Absolutely.
as Black folks, because sometimes we're the first ones that they call just because.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Early on in COVID. So
Yeah.
I was not one of those people that was going to take that chance.
Right, right. I get it. So
Yeah.
with the new project Harlem that you're working on, it sounds really dope. I'm
It
really
is so it is so cute. I'm a Harlem girl, born and raised and still live there. I'm
nice.
bi-coastal, but we have our condo at 141st and Convent,
Mm-hmm.
right down the hill from where I was born and raised.
Wow.
Yep, and I think it's created by Tracy Oliver, who
Mm-hmm.
wrote Girls Trip,
Mm-hmm.
and who also has a show on BET, First Wives Club, with Jill Scott. And it's a great, and Megan Good stars in it. They have a great cast. I don't know the other actors right offhand right now, but I do know that Jasmine Guy plays one of the young women's mothers, and then Whoopi Goldberg was signed on to play. She plays a professor in the college where Megan Good teaches. She's a professor in college, and Malcolm Lee directed the first, the pilot, the first one, and I'm going to direct the finale.
Amazing.
So I'm very excited. Yeah, Malcolm has recommended me, and I spoke to Tracy and read the script. And I mean, Harlem is my home, so I'm very picky about anything about Harlem and how it's represented. And, I think Tracy Oliver is so talented and so sweet, She reminds me of my daughter. She's just a sweetheart. And, I guess maybe because she likes every idea that I brought up.
That helps, huh?
But she's open because she wants to make Harlem real. Like, I suggested we use Melba from Melba's Restaurant. She used some people in Harlem. Give the money to Black people,
Yes.
show some real places in Harlem. And she was totally amenable to that.
Yeah.
So Friday, we're going to have Melba from Melba's Harlem. She's going to be doing the catering to Whoopi's character, event that Whoopi's having. So, these little things make me feel good. Even when I directed The Breaks back in the day with Cease, I used Harlem for that. And then, of course, I directed Luke Cage. That was shot in Harlem.
Oh, okay.
So, I think as Black artists, we have the obligation just to mention to these people, Black people own brownstones in Harlem too. We should go to a Black restaurant for lunch. Why give it to the white people? We in Harlem, So I love doing that, girl. When I'm on these shows in New York, I'm known for that. I will change it in a minute.
Good.
And yeah, we have to do that because if we don't, then we're afterthought.
Exactly.
People go to who they know. And so we have to, change that game. It's a constant decoding and recoding. Decoding those stereotypes, tearing that down and recoding it with our truths. Not who they think we are, but who we really are. So something like that, the decoding and recoding system is never easy, but it's so worthwhile at the end.
I love that. That's definitely something to walk away from and something that, we need to repeat to ourselves. I'll definitely say decoding and recoding a lot to people moving forward when we're talking about, the Black community. But kind of on another note, Harlem to me is like a very female forward project. You were talking about how Tracy Oliver created the show. I know Amy Poehler's production company is bringing the show to life. And then we have you, a female director. And, you have amazing actresses on the show. Do you think it's important to have women behind the scenes on a project about women?
hell yes. I think it's vital.
Yeah.
When I had my first Zoom meeting with them, I'll tell you quite frankly, I was almost in tears. All of them were black. All of them were young. All of them were so smart,
Mm-hmm.
and they were producers, and associate producers, and studio executives. You know what I mean, and
Yeah.
writers. And I was like, oh my God! Again, I didn't think I'd live to see this. It's such a
Wow.
joy, and so rewarding. I mean, so rewarding that it makes some of the welts on my back that cocoa butter won't heal go away. That's how
Uh,
rewarding it is to see, to see that. It's
yeah.
it's definitely, you have to have women helping telling women's stories. I'm not saying that men can't do it, but I think that we have a deeper understanding of who we are and why we do things.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for our image because we're still stereotyped, and we're still put in positions of helplessness and all that stuff. They still like to do that to us. And I think that with women involved, sometimes you're not always in a position to change things, but you're in a position to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's your option. If you're in a position to be heard, you can speak your mind and you can try. And if you get like 3 feet one show, maybe you get 6 feet another show, but you keep pushing. It's important. And people, I found, are receptive because we're telling the truth. I mean, when you speak the truth, what are they going to say? No.
Right.
You're not telling the truth about, or no, yes, no, you don't see this. This character is balanced. When the character's not balanced, let's be real. Put it on the table. No,
Yeah.
it's not. So we have to fix it, And so, I do it, and I'm a nobody. I do it. I always do it.
Definitely not a nobody. Definitely not. That's
I do my thing, girl, when necessary. So,
yeah.
And I have to say, when I work with people like Mara Block, who I love, okay, I did Being Mary Jane for her, and I also did Love Is. I did the episode that Loretta Devine got an NAACP nomination for. That one scene where she told everybody off. I mean, working for Mara was a joy. Working for Will Packer was a joy. Working now for Tracy is a joy. Working with Anthony Hemingway was a joy. Working with Steve Mann was a joy. I mean, I had joys working with all these people. They're all fabulous,
Right.
and supportive, and the guys are very conscious about bringing women into the fold, and the women are not biased. They'll bring men into the fold, But
Okay.
I don't know. I guess I just love my people, and I love to work with people who are full of self-love, not self-hate.
I love
That
that.
makes a difference, in my creativity.
All
Yeah.
right.
And also, I'm excited. I have to say that, I don't know if you know it or not, but my husband and I have had our company called Black History Mini Docs going on.
Oh, I just binged some of those before I got on the call with you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, did you like them?
I did. They were artistic, and that's what I kind of like. They were a little different than it was just a different spin on because we get a lot of little Black history tidbits, but the music there was a lot of components that went into them. I can tell in such a short amount of time, though. A lot in such a short amount of time.
Right. Well, we call it Cliff Notes for the digital age, and I have to, put that on my husband because he creates the whole thing. He's an artist. He draws the artwork. When the videos that we have, he creates the videos. He does his own music.
Wow.
He edits them all. It's like a little family thing that we do for free just for our people. And we're over a million views a day now.
Wow.
So we're moving up in the world as far as now. I'm happy to say that so many more people are posting Black history tidbits because it's important.
Yes.
And we do it because working in this business, you find that so many Black folks don't know the royalty we came from. They think that nobody invented anything, or there wasn't, teachers in the 1800s, or or people or lawyers, or politicians, but there were. They're just not they're just not taught in America, but we do have them. So this is why we do Black History Mini Docs, And we get so many letters. Thank you, thank you. I love it. I look forward to it every day. Blah 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 blah. And that makes us feel good because we feel that we're doing it just for our people. We just want it. That's our contribution, And yeah,
Yeah.
I love Black History Mini Docs. It's a good thing. And, so many young filmmakers have written me saying, oh, I read about so-and-so. Now I'm doing a movie. Oh, my God, thank you. Thank you, Miss Barnette. You
Awesome.
opened my eyes to this person and that person. And now I'm making a movie about it.
Right.
Like Adam Clayton Powell said, Diva, is what's in your hand. What's in your hand? If you don't know what's in your hand and you don't know where you came from, you have no idea where you're going.
Yeah.
And so our goal in Black History Mini, like Adam Clayton Powell said, you have to use what's in your hand. What have you got in your hand? Don't waste it.
Mm-hmm.
Use it.
Mm-hmm.
Use what's in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope I answered that question. I guess I drifted off. I'm sorry.
It's completely okay. Whatever anything that you say that honestly is gold because, even it's Women's History Month, and quite
Yes.
frankly, you are a part of that history, whether or not people know you by name, but people have seen your work, whether they know you or not, which is, you've given a lot to the culture. I like to say that. You've given a lot to the culture.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And, we have a podcast, Black History Mini Docs podcast, too, that we started. And my daughter, who's a very talented playwright, she's done several podcasts that deal with all kinds of things, including a young lady who was responsible for painting Black Lives Matter in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
And season two, we had a lot of coming up. Season 2 coming up, we have some great doctorate academic people from Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a lot going on, in season 2 that's coming up. Our podcast getting ready to come out. So, we keep busy, in the family aside from working, doing stuff that we feel is important, and that's how we feel we like to give back. Have a consistent history going out.
I love that. Okay. Well, I just have 2 more questions for you, because I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Oh, no, that's okay.
You probably answered this a little bit, but I do want to know if you have any, just one piece of advice for aspiring women directors or even women creators who are just struggling to find their voice or, are kind of afraid or, just.
Yeah.
What would it be?
I know what you mean. I have to quote Ava on this. I remember one quote she said, which is, if you're dreaming for yourself, you're dreaming too small.
Mm.
And that stuck with me. My advice to any young filmmaker, particularly female filmmakers and particularly females of color, is to follow your dream. Just get it done. You know what I mean? By any means necessary, get it done. Whether it be on your iPhone or a short story that's in your head that you want to do, do a little bit every day. Get some actors to be in it or your friends to be in it, and then just keep working. You cannot, when you're an artist and you're creative, you can't wait for a phone call. In order to create. Mm-hmm. You can't wait for somebody to call you and give you a job. You have to create your own. As the Muslims always used to say, right? Do for self.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, and not to be afraid, not to be afraid. I mean, this generation has it far better than people like myself and Julie Dash, who's one of my best friends. And when we came up, there was only us, we pulled together. And I'm telling you, if I didn't have my sister friends, filmmakers, I think I would have gone crazy, but we hold each other up. And I think that that's what they need. And another set of advice I would tell young filmmakers is to find their tribe. Because if anybody knew what kind of movie would be a hit, we would all be rich.
Yeah.
You need to make a movie that you have a passion for. And trust me, it will find its audience. Even if it's big audience or a small audience. If it's your passion and your story, you need to do it and not try to think what will be a hit, what wouldn't be a hit. You just have to tell a story that you have a passion for and not be afraid. Because you know what? I fall down every day. One thing I learned when I was in AFI, I fell down every day and I got back up. I never fell in the same place, but sometimes I used to fall like 2 inches from where I fell yesterday, but never in the same place. You know what I
Right.
mean? Never in the same place. And so you find that as you get more, more confidence in what you want to do, and also you see the vision. If other people don't see it, then don't let that stop you. Yeah. As long as you see it and you think it's worth saying and worth making a film about, because that means you have a voice, you have something to say. And like I said, it'll find its audience. Don't be discouraged. That's the other thing. Just don't be discouraged. And find your tribe, because if you find your tribe, they will support you. I mean, I found a tribe, and my people are my tribe. And whatever I do, good or small, I remember when I did Civil Brand, and it was a tough movie, very tough. And I had a hip hop cast, and they had my back all the way. I was never really able to shoot the film I wanted to shoot. I was like 20 scenes short and 5 days short. It took me a year and a half to finish it. And I remember I was like, oh, this is not going to go anywhere. But, if it stops one young black girl from going to jail, I'll be happy, And then Jeff Flanagan, one of the producers, said, I'm going to put it in the American Black Film Festival. I said, this is not a film festival film, Jeff. This is like a hip-hop B movie, because it wasn't a film. I had to put my pride aside and just do the film, because I was waiting for my 5 additional days to shoot my 20 additional scenes, and it never came. So, and we got into the American Black Film Festival, and so, they paid for the director to go down. So I was teaching at the time, so I was the director, so I got to go down free and stay in the fancy hotel. And so I called Clifton and Lisa Ray and the Boucher and Monica and Tashina. I said, get your shortest dresses that you have down in Miami and help me promote this film. So I got Jeff, the producer, to pay for them to come down. And it was the opening night. I'll never forget. I was scared to death. It was raining. And, back then, I shot that film on film. I had these 2 big 35 millimeter cases.
Oh, wow.
And so it was playing in the theater. And so I asked the little guy, I said, can I go in? He said, no, it's full. But I said, well, listen, I'm the director. I got to see it. So I went in and I sat on the step, right? I never showed the film to anybody, thinking it wasn't a film I set out to make. Okay, so the scene came where Clifton was pushing Tashina down on him, right? And a black woman got up in the audience. I'll never forget it. She said, oh, no. That nigga's got to go. He can't do that to her. And girl, I turned around and I was like, oh my God, they're talking back to the screen. And at that moment, I realized that all the labor that I did with that film, even though it didn't come out the way I wanted to come out, all the hard work that we all put together, Most Def, all of us, all that whole, MC Light and the Brat, all of us, it was worth it because the people liked it.
Yeah.
And we wind up winning the Audience Award, Cliff won Best Actor Award. Girl, we were so broke. My husband did the poster that when I won, I think it was Keenan and Chris Tucker, and they were Robert Townsend. And I was so shocked. I said, listen, guys, is there a check cashing place around here? I forgot I was in front of 2,000 people. I was so happy. And I learned that one of my biggest lessons from that if you're truthful and you tell a story about your people that is honest and balanced, they will support you. And that has been my journey. My people have supported me and every step of the way, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm honored for that, and I just feel like for that and many other reasons, I owe them to keep fighting, and that's really what keeps me fighting. So,
awesome.
That's awesome. I drifted again. I'm so sorry.
No.
Give you an exact quote of time.
No, definitely.
I think Civil Brand is a perfect example because now I go on YouTube and hundreds of young women are doing doctorate papers on Civil Brand. It got to go to Oxford and London to talk about, slave labor in the prison system. This was before Ava did the 13th. And it was a hip hop movie.
Right.
The producers wanted it a certain way, but I was able to create a B story about slave labor in the prison system. So at least we got the information out. You know what I mean? And so, You never know. If you put your heart in something and you have a voice to tell a story, you never know where it's going to wind up.
Yeah.
Who would have known,
Yeah. But
who would have known that little movie, would be a little black cult classic.
Right. It walked so the 13th could run,
Yes, that's true. Well put. Go ahead, Dee. That's why you're a writer. Okay, that's why you're a writer. That was so beautiful. Yep. And what was the other question?
And so my last question is, what's one question that you've never been asked but I have always wanted to answer, if that makes any sense?
One question that I've
never been asked. Yep.
I always wanted to answer. That's a good one. Let me think. One question I've never been asked, but I always want to answer. Well, I'm not going to say what's on my mind because we would all be in trouble. So,
okay. It's a safe space, but okay, we can go to the next. Yeah, I don't want you to get in trouble.
Well, I wonder how white folks would feel if they walked on sets with all black people and they were the only white person on the set. I wonder how they would feel. That's a question that I've always wanted to be asked, but have never been asked, and always wanted to answer, because when you're a black director and you're doing shows that are not black, or movies that are basically white, and I've done about 9 television movies, all of them were white. Only one that was black was the Gail Diva story for Showtime. When you walk in, when I was young and started out and doing this Gilmore Girls and Seventh Heaven and all these shows. I mean, I'm from Harlem, I'm from fire escapes and
right.
City streets, and I often thought, I wonder if they even think about how I feel, how alien I feel, how alone I feel. Walking on that set and having to focus and create. Because when I directed What's Happening Now, there was a white AD who picked on me nonstop. And I went in the bathroom, I'll never forget it. And I broke down in the bathroom. And remember Shirley, who was in What's Happening Now? She came in the bathroom. She said, "Neema, what's wrong with you?" I said, "Oh, nothing. She said, "What's wrong?" I said, "No, this AD is bothered." It was my first job,
Wow.
That's when I made history on that show. And I said, "I don't know why he's doing this to me, but I'm just going to wipe my eyes and go out. I'm not going to let him see me cry." And she turned around to me. She said, "Neema, don't you worry about a thing. We got you."
Wow.
We got you, Neema.
Yeah.
And they had me. They had me so much that little episode I directed even got nominated for NAACP Image Award.
There we go.
Yeah. So, I wish someone would ask me that question, because so many of my sister directors and filmmakers go through that so often. Yeah. And no one even stops to think, how do they feel? How do you feel going in an alien environment like that? Where you're the only one and you have to direct these white actors, and find a way to make it work when you know how to do it, but, what you're wondering what kind of reception you're going to get, and you have to control yourself, and it's just a lot. So that is one question that I always wanted someone to ask me that no one ever asked.
Wow.
Ever. How does it feel to be a black woman director, to walk on an all-white set with all-white actors and an all-white crew and have to do that job?
Yeah. And still succeed, still excel.
And succeed. Yep. Now, nobody's ever asked me that question because nobody ever wants to hear that.
Right. They was too afraid.
Yep.
So, but I mean, I think you've done more than well in succeeding in that part. And like I said before, you give it a lot to the culture. And Black Film will try to do their best to let people know that you were the only black female director on Aretha Genius.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But regardless, they made their choice. And, like I said, I'm proud of the battles I had, because the result is in my 2 episodes. Yes. And you will see it. It's full of self-love. And really, Cynthia and I managed to work to balance her character out and not be accommodating and bootlicking and all that stuff that they wanted her to be.
Right.
She didn't want to do it, and we turned it around. She would come to work with her pencil behind her ears, and I come to work with my pencil behind my ears. And I have to give a shout out to Pauletta Washington, who did a fantastic job as Aretha's grandmother, and she too is a warrior. She's very script savvy, and she doesn't take any role. So we work together to give the grandmother some meat. And I'm very proud of that. Like I said, it's a joy to work with actors who want to do the right thing.
Yes.
So yeah. So I appreciate Black Film. I'm a big supporter of Black Film.
Oh.
And I remember when I did Civil Brand, it was so many people interviewing. Blackfilm.com did an interview, and it was so funny because he asked me about shower scenes, and I said, "Oh no, Lionsgate called me up when they said to me, Neema, what's all this about slave labor in the prison system? Are you trying to make people think? And where's the girls' naked shower scene?"
Oh, wow.
I said, we don't have no shower scene. We got an isolation scene where the Boucher Wright, who's fabulous, and Lisa Ray, because Lisa Ray was like, it don't bother me, Neema, because she had just come off that other movie.
Oh, okay.
Playing Diamond.
Yeah.
I said, no, sweetheart, we don't have to go in that direction in this one.
Right.
So Black Film, when I did Civil Brand, they were very supportive, and I always remember that. So shout out to you guys, Black Film, and thank you so much for the interview. I so appreciate it. I really do.
Of course. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
The pleasure was mine, Diva, and I'm very proud of you, I must say.
Thank you. Likewise. And be safe going to New York and have a great time.
I will. And when you see episodes 2 and 3, text me and let me know what you think.
Absolutely.
I'll be curious to see what you say.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much again.
You're very welcome. Have a good one.